The animation opens up with a very massive storm, which diverted a shipment of a major company to a close-by island. A group of species discovered that the storm had brought some weird containers into their island. The animals checked the boxes and eventually activated a robot. The animals distanced themselves in fear as the robot came online. The robot introduced itself as the Universal Dynamics Utilitarian Robot. She calls herself Rozzum 7134, but Roz in short. A very heavy wave interrupted this moment, so the robot tries to climb a high mountain to escape the wave, but unfortunately for her, she keeps falling. Nearby, she saw the way a crab climbs the mountain and decided to imitate its movement and was successful. Anyways, Roz realized she is left alone, so he proceeds to associate herself with the other animals in the forest, looking for her rightful owner. Roz tries its best to assist them, but they in return reject her assistance and instead attacked her. All her efforts to make peace with the wildlife proved to be futile, as they continued to make life miserable for her. So a depressed Roz then decided to go into learning mode, so she could understand the animals and probably learn their language. She sits still for days while she successfully downloads all animal languages after her self-learning mode. Few days later, Roz is able to understand their language now. One of the locals asks if she was sent to kill them. Though Roz tries to explain her mission, they don't believe her as they all panic, running for safety. At night, Rob then decides to activate her transmitting antenna to return to her company, but during a storm, which was really a bad idea. When Roz tries to recover herself, she notices that some raccoons were trying to steal her components. She manages to get rid of them, as they attack her in numbers. Although one of the raccoons managed to run away with her antenna, she chases after him but then ends up in a bear's cave. Luckily for her, she manages to get her antenna, but found itself in a big trouble, as the wild bear tried to devour Roz. Roz escapes death but lands on a goose net, destroying the goose and its eggs, except for one. She tries to protect the last egg, but a cunning fox snatches it away from the robot. Roz goes after the fox, and after an extended long chase, she is able to recover the egg. Just then, the egg hatches into a gosling. The little goose considers Roz to be her mother after an intense look. Although Roz feels its mission with the gosling is over, as she lets him be, but the gosling always finds its way back to Roz. Just then, Roz sees a mother possum with her children, so the robot quickly places the gosling amidst them, but the mother possum soon notices and then hands over the gosling back to Roz. Although Roz refuses to take back the gosling, saying it's been stalking her, Mother Possum tells Roz that she is officially a mother and needs to take care of the gosling, but Roz declines, saying her priority is to return to the factory and her manufacturer. Mother Possum then gives Roz the task of taking care of the gosling. With no clue on how to be a mother, Roz is told that the gosling needs to learn how to swim and fly before the winter migration. Roz begins her parenting and train her, as her target is to feed the gosling, teach it how to swim and then fly. And obviously, she turns out to be the worst mother, as she has no expertise in that field. So just then, Fink the fox decides to help her, although at first Roz doesn't trust him, because he tried to eat the gosling before when she was still in her egg form. Fink promises that he has turned a new leaf, and he just wants to assist her. He went on further to inform Roz that all animals in the jungle are just trying to escape. He takes Roz to go hunt for food, but at the end of the day, we notice that the fox is just trying to fill his own belly and use the robot to his advantage. Anyways, they all went on to build a place where they can all sleep at night, as the fox advises Roz that in order to teach the gosling, they need to make sure it's kept safe from wild animals. So at night, with the first mission done successfully, Roz proceeds to his new mission, which is teaching the gosling how to swim. Anyways, the fox suggests that Roz tells him a bedtime story. When the robot couldn't make up any, Fink proceeds to tell Brightbill about how Roz became his mother, making up a fiction filled with happy and emotional sequences so Brightbill will be calm and eventually fall asleep. After a short period of time, Brightbill had grown into a goose, with Roz now teaching him how to swim. Fink the fox thinks he has now gotten to the age where he faces his challenges alone, so he pushes Brightbill into the river, so he can improve his swimming and overcome his fear. During his swimming exercise, Roz fears that he will drown, so he sends a part of his robot to watch and guide Brightbill. Fortunately for Brightbill, he got to meet other geese. He is bullied for his awkward nature and inability to swim like them. They tell him that he is the child of a monster and he will and can never be one of them. When Roz notices that the bullying is endangering Brightbill's life, she immediately comes to his rescue. Brightbill becomes sad and then walks out on Roz. But as he was about to leave, they made him know the truth about his real mother, saying Roz killed his real parents. Roz tells him that he hid the information from him because he felt it wasn't going to assist Brightbill in accomplishing his required targets. During an argument, Brightbill reprimands Roz for hiding such vital information from him. He is disappointed as he storms out of the nest, saying Roz isn't his real mom. The next day, Roz comes across another module from the Rozzum robot wreckage. She activates a message explaining in detail about where she came from, her community, and her purpose. She activates the module, trying to find a solution for her growing increase in emotions, saying she now processes tasks with emotions and not as a robot. The module is confused and doubts that the alpha processor could be feeling something other than what it is programmed for. After running a diagnostic on Roz, the robot module discovered that she had overran her programs. She labels Roz defective, saying she needs to return to the factory where she was created. The module gives her a transmitter that will call her manufacturers. Soon after, Fox finds Roz sitting all alone. She tells him that they had ruined everything, and she wants to return back to her community so they can eventually fix her. Fink the fox tries to discourage her from leaving, reminding her of the task at hand. But Roz doesn't feel Brightbill need her anymore. Fox insists, saying Brightbill is running out of time, as the winter migration is approaching very soon. Roz gives in, and they both approach Brightbill. So at first he refuses to let them coach him, saying they have no idea on how to fly, but Roz assures him that she doesn't give up on a task, and after he eventually learns everything, they can both go their own separate ways. The next few days, Roz teaches Brightbill all she knows about flight movements, but it still wasn't paying off. The other goose laughs at him, saying his wings are too small and weak to fly high. Roz brings in Thunderbolt to be Brightbill's new teacher. With his motivation, Brightbill was able to fly high and navigate through the air. Just as Brightbill is practicing, Longneck, one of the leaders of the goose migration, comes to commend Roz for a job well done, as he has been watching them all along as they trained. He tells Roz to train him more, especially on endurance, as they have a tough journey ahead. The next few days, Brightbill continues to train very hard as he prepares for the migration. So on the day of the migration, Brightbill is brought to Longneck. He thanks Roz for all she has done and promises to put Brightbill under his wing. Longneck tells Brightbill that Roz is a blessing to his life and he should give her the credits she deserves. In an emotional way, Brightbill requests for a boost as he prepares to join the others in flying. He asks if she will still be around when he comes back, but she doesn't see the possibility. Roz helps Brightbill by giving him the boost he asked for, but as Roz holds back her bursting emotions, she couldn't take it anymore as she goes after Brightbill to see him again for the final time. She is unnerved at how she overrode her programming, becoming attached to the bird, and is emotional that he left. When Fox approaches her, they try to hide their feelings and then pretended like they're going to go about their normal life. Anyways, winter finally arrives and all the animals went back into their cave for shelter. Meanwhile, Roz activates her communication module. Just then it shows up at the Universal Dynamics headquarters before she shuts it off. Brightbill regrets that he didn't say his last words to Roz, but Longneck reminds him that the heart have their own conversation, and his feelings might have been communicated. Just as they traveled, a thunderstorm makes the geese run for safety. They go over to hide in a futuristic greenhouse. Brightbill sees a Rozzum robot and mistakes him for Roz, but then the robots attack the birds as they presume them to be pests. Longneck notices that Brightbill's familiarity with Roz makes him the only goose not afraid of the monstrous robots, so he asks him to lead the flock away from the greenhouse. During their escape, the robots fire lasers at them, but Longneck sacrifices himself in the process, saving the flock. The scene switches to Roz, who awakens in her shelter where she finds Fink the fox. He tells her about the severe winter and how everyone is hiding from the snowstorm. Roz finds out that the animals are in danger, but Fink couldn't care less as he is ready to have the whole jungle to himself next spring. Roz motivates him, saying as they never liked him, he now has to take the advantage and chance to become a hero. The two then decide to rescue all the animals and bring them to the shelter. Roz is able to save both sea and land animals, including the dangerous bear. Because of the dangerous snowstorm, she becomes terribly weak, depleting her batteries as a result. The predators and prey came together but create a chaotic environment as everyone begins fighting each other. Fink becomes angry as he orders them to stay quiet. He gives an emotional speech as reminds them that they would be dead from the cold if not for Roz's compassion, the same robot they all labeled a monster. The animals begin to realize their mistakes as they resent for what they've done. Roz then asks for a truce as her final request before she shuts down. She tells them that they mustn't live to what they have been programmed to do. The animals agree, as the bear promises to live in harmony for at least winter. Months later, during spring, Roz awakens. She watches from a distance as the geese return. They all gather to praise Brightbill as their hero for saving them. Roz is happy that Brightbill has finally found his family, so she proceeds to leave. On the other hand, Fink goes over to tell Brightbill that Roz waited for him, but they couldn't find her anymore, as Brightbill really wanted to speak to her. Roz finally decided to return back to her factory. She then sees a Universal Dynamics dropship arrive. Just then the robot Vontra descends. The headquarters wants to bring her back so the unexplainable changes in her programming can be studied. Roz reluctantly agreed to go along with Vontra. However, Fink arrives saying Brightbill wants to see Roz, and he has been looking all over for her. Roz made an excuse as she leaves the ship. So to bring Roz back so they could study more about her dynamics, Vontra releases an army of robots to go after her. She sends out fire as it destroys the jungle. The bear proceeds to help Fink and Roz escape this disaster and the killer-programmed robots. But just then, all the animals unite together as they attack the robots. Seeing that the robots have been destroyed, after a long extended battle, Vontra then made the destroyed robots self-destruct to distract the animals. This led to a massive forest fire outbreak. While she drags Roz onto the ship with extractor beam, Vontra plans to erase all Roz's memories. Just as the animals ran back for safety, Brightbill leads the geese into attacking the ship. Vontra soon notices this and then brings out her lasers, but it still isn't enough to stop a determined Brightbill. He infiltrates the ship as he locates Roz. He finds her completely shut down, but miraculously she awakens after he told her that he loves her, and together they destroy Vontra as they fly out of the ship before it explodes. Meanwhile, the other animals come together to put out the fire using a tree technique. After their victory, Roz sees all the damage and knows fully well that the Universal Dynamics will keep sending more robots after her, so she decides to leave the wildlife for their safety. Although the animals promise to stand by her and fight together, she insists that there are things she needs to put in order at the factory. After Roz leaves and promised them that, once it's time, she promised to find her way home. The animals unite as Fink now became a great storyteller. Roz can be seen working at the greenhouse. She acts like a complete robot around her manufacturers, but when she gets to see Brightbill, she shows her emotional side as they share an emotional connection. The movie, titled The Wild Robot 2024, then came to an end. Kindly subscribe if you enjoy recaps like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.